Sorry, my last video got cut short. Camera ran out, so I deleted a couple videos that I've already previously uploaded. So we're gonna start back off with Travel Through Karatras. A green and 5 for a sorcerer that reads Council's Dilemma. Starting with you, each player votes for Red Horn Pass or Mines of Moria. For each Red Horn Pass vote, search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tab. Search your library this way, shuffle. For each Mines of Moria vote, turn a target card from your graveyard to your hand. From exile, travel through Karatras. Okay. Then you have Mirkwood Elk. A green and 5 for a 6/6 elk with trample. Whenever Mirkwood Elk enters the battlefield or attacks, turn a target elk card from your graveyard to your hand. Gain life equal to that card's power. So, a non-elf card for your elf deck, for certain. Big chunky card to protect your elves and bring them back from the graveyard. If we have Haldir Lorien Lieutenant, a green and X for a 0/0 legendary elf soldier. Haldir Lorien Lieutenant enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. Has vigilance. Till end of turn, for a green and 3 until end of turn, other elves you can control gain vigilance and get +1/+1 for each counter on +1/+1 counter on Haldir. Okay. More elf stuff. Next up, we have Galadrim Ambush. For a green and 3, you have an instant create X/1/1 green and elf warrior creature tokens where X is the number of attacking creatures. Prevent all combat damage will be dealt this turn by non-elf creatures. More elf cards. My friend DJ Longhair, he's really geeking out of it because he has an elf ball deck, and these cards are just made for that deck. Next up is Legolas Greenleaf. A green and 2 for a 2/2 legendary elf archer with reach. Legolas Greenleaf can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Whenever another legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Legolas Greenleaf. Whenever Legolas Greenleaf deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Hey, that's a cool Legolas version. Next up, we have Trap the Trespassers. A blue and 2 for an instant that reads Secret Council. Each player secretly votes for a creature you don't control. Those votes are revealed. Each creature with one or more votes, put that many stun counters on it and tap it. Okay, yikes. Next up, we have Raise the Palisade. A blue and 4 for a sorcerer that reads choose a creature type. Return all creatures that aren't of the chosen type to their owner's hands. I'm sure it's 5 mana, but if you got if your opponent has a lot of tokens out there, or playing a weenie deck and got lots of weenie creatures out there. Oh look, they all go back to your hand. Next up, we have Arwen Weaver of Hope. 2 green and 1 for a 2/1 legendary elf noble. Each of the creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1 counter equal to Arwen Weaver of Hope's toughness. Well, if you give her the Galadrim bow, that could be bad. Just straight up bad. It makes her into a 3/4? And every creature that enters the battlefield with toughness greater than, with 4 +1/+1 counters on it. That's ugly. So she'd be a 3/4 with the elf with reach. I can't say no to that. That's a combo I'd like to see. Next up, we have Gandalf Westward Voyager. A green and blue and 3 for a 5/5 Avatar Wizard. If you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, each opponent reveals the top card of their library. Any of those cards that shares a card type with that spell, copy the spell and may choose new targets for the copy. Each opponent draws a card, otherwise you draw a card. So, another card that it's designed for that Elf Council Commander Raid style deck. Happiness. Then we have Treebeard Gracious Host. Green and white and 2 for a 0/5 legendary tree folk. Yes, Trample Ward 2. When Treebeard Gracious Host enters the battlefield, create 2 food tokens. Whenever you gain life, put that many +1/+1 counter on target halfling or tree folk. Yeah, he's gonna be putting counters on stuff. Next up we have is the Gaffer. A white and 2 for a 2/3 legendary halfling peasant. At the beginning of each end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, draw a card. Here we have Rapacious Guest. A black and 2 for a 2/2 halfling citizen. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a food token. Whenever you sacrifice a food, put a +1/+1 counter on Rapacious Guest. When Rapacious Guest leaves the battlefield, opponent loses life equal to its power. Creates food tokens. More food tokens. This is the this is the food deck. Next up we have Prize Pig. A green and 1 for a 0/3 boar. Whenever you gain life, put that many ribbon counters on Prize Pig. If there are 3 or more ribbon counters on Prize Pig, remove those counters and untap them. Tap it to add 1 mana of any color. Next up we have Of Herbs and Stewed Rabbit. A white and 2 for a enchantment song that reads for a +1/+1 counter on what target creature, create a food token. Chapter 2, draw a card, create a food token. Chapter 3, create a 1/1 white halfling creature token for each food you control. Then we have Motivated Pony. Green and 4 for a 3/3 horse with trample and haste. Whenever Motivated Pony attacks, attacking creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. A food enters the battlefield under your control this turn. Untap those creatures, and they get an additional +2/+2 till end of turn. Then we have Lobelia, Defender Bag In. A black and 2 for a 2/2 legendary halfling citizen. When Lobelia enters the battlefield with the top card of each opponent's library, exile those cards face down. Tap it to sacrifice an artifact and choose 1. Till the turn, you play a card exiled with Lobelia without paying its mana cost. Or each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Okay. So this is the good Lobelia. This is kind of the Lobelia that that defended Bag In when Sharky Saruman came to take over the Shire. Next up we have Hithlane Rope. 2 mana for artifact system. Hiffling Rope can't be sacrificed. Pay 1 tap and search your library for a basic flying card, put it on the battlefield, tap, shuffle. Then the player to your right gains control of Hiffling Rope. Pay 2, tap it, draw a card, then the player to your right gains control of Hiffling Rope. So, another Commander Raid style card. So that card, for those of you that play Commander Raid, are gonna love that. Then we have Gwahir, Greatest of the Eagles. A white and 4 for a 5/5 legendary bird noble with flying. Whenever Gwahir attacks, target attacking creature gains flying until end of turn. At the beginning of each end step, if you gain 3 or more life, create a 3/3 white bird creature token with flying. Whenever this creature attacks, target attacking creature gains flying until end of turn. Yeah, the Eagles are coming. The Eagles are coming. Next up, we have Gollum, Obsessed Stalker. Black and 1 for a 1/1 legendary halfling horror with skull. Creatures can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. So, at the beginning of your end step, each opponent is dealt combat damage. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent dealt combat damage this game by a creature named Gollum. Obsessed Stalker loses life equal to the amount of life you gain this turn. And again, this, like I said, this is a food deck, so he's designed to be, you know, the food. So you're gaining life with the food, and he's dealing damage to your opponents. Next up, we have Field-Tested Frying Pan. A white and 2 for an artifact equipment with Field-Tested Frying Pan in its battlefield. Create a food token and create a 1/1 white halfling creature token and attach Field-Tested Frying Pan to it. Crit creature has, whenever you gain life, this creature gets +X/+X till end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gain. Equipped for 2. So, more food shenanigans. Next up, we have Feasting Hobbit. Proud feet. A green and 1 for a 2/2 halfling citizen with Devour Food 3. This creature enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice any number of food. This creature enters the battlefield with 3 times that many +1/+1 counters on it. Creatures with power less than Feasting Hobbit's power can't block it. So you can make a big giant hobbit. Next up, we have Farmer Cotton. A green, and white, and 1. A green, and white, and excuse me. A green, and white, and X for a 1/1 legendary halfling peasant. Farmer Cotton enters the battlefield. Create X white 1 X 1/1 white halfling creature tokens with and X food tokens. Oh, there's a fun guy. Next up, we have Banquet Guest. Green and white and X for a 0/0 halfling citizen with affinity to food. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each food you control. It has Trample. Banquet Guest enters the battlefield with twice X +1/+1 counters on it. Pay 2, sacrifice food. Banquet Guest gains indestructible till end of turn. Next up, we have Assemble the Innsmouth. A green and 3 for an enchantment that reads, Creatures you control have reach. Sacrifice a sense. Uh, it's an enchantment, so it's a 3 for green. So you have an enchantment. Creatures you control have reach. Sacrifice a simple. You can't move. Create 3 tapped. XX green 3-foot creature tokens where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. Put a reach counter on each of them. That's fun. Next up, we have some of the Realms and Relics box toppers. Although there's been a lot of talk about this. This is another one of the chase draws of this set, and people are really liking them. I mean, there's some that don't like it because it's, there's reprints here. Some of these reprints have also been, reprinted, were last printed very recently. So we're going to quickly go through some of these. We have the Dead Marshes, which is Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth, which is a legendary land. Each land is a swamp in addition to its other types. We have Helm's Deep, which is Shinka, the Bloodstained Keep, is a legendary land. You tap it to add a red, or pay a red and tap it to target legendary creature gains first strike till end of turn. Then you have Henneth Anur, which is Anun, which is the Reflecting Pool. It's a land you tap and add 1 mana of any color, any type that a land you control would produce. Then you have End of the Prancing Pony, which is Pillars of the Perun, which is a land you tap it to add 1 mana of any color, spend it, mana only, cast a multicolored spell. You have Buckleberry Fairy, which is Oboro Palace in the Clouds, legendary land, tap it to add a blue or pay 1 to return Buckleberry Fairy to its owner's hand. You have Redhorn Pass, which is Mouth of Ronom, a snow land, tap it to add a colorless or pay a snow and 4 to sacrifice Redhorn Pass. It deals 4 damage to target creature. Osgiliath Fallen Capital, which is Core Haven, legendary land, tap it to add a colorless or pay a white and 1, tap it to add crit all combat damage will be dealt by a target attacking creature this turn. Then you have White Tower of Exelion, which is Caracas. A legendary land, you tap it to add a white, or tap it to return legendary creature to its owner's hand. Bag End, which is Rising Canopy, a land, you tap it to add, and pay a life, add a green or a white, or pay 1, tap it, sacrifice Bag End, and draw a card. And you have Glittering Caves of Alagaron, legendary land. Glittering Caves of Alagaron is in your opening hand. And you're not the starting player. You may begin the game with it on the battlefield with a luck counter on it. If you do, exile a card from your hand. Tap it to add a colorless, or if it has a luck counter on it, instead add 1 mana of any color. The Fuziled, Golden Hall of Aedoras, a land. It's Castle Ardenvale. It's a land that's in the battlefield. Tap as you control planes. Tap it to add a white mana. Or pay 2 white and 2. Tap it to create a 1/1 white human creature token. You have Minas Morgul. This is Cabal Coffers, a land. Pay 2, tap it to add a black mana for each swamp you control. You have Shards of Narsho, which is Thorn of Amethyst. It's 2 mana for an artifact for each non-creature spells, costs 1 more to cast. Ring of Brahir, which is 2 mana. Sword of the Animus, 2 mana for legendary artifact equipment. Creature gets +1/+1 whenever creature attacks. Search your library for basic land card, put on the battlefield. Tap, then shuffle, and equip for 2. Then you have Herogrim, Sword of Rohan, which is the Sword of Hearth and Home, and equipment. Artifact equipment. No creature gets +2/+2, and protection from green and from white. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to a player, exile up to one target creature you own. Search your library for basic land card. Put both cards onto the battlefield under your control, then shuffle. Equip for 2. Then you have then we have another card, Pippin, Warden of Isengard. Uh, 2/2 black and green for 2/2 legendary casting advisor. He partners with Merry Warden of Isengard. This is all part of the food deck. Pay 1, tap it to create a food token. Or tap it, sacrifice 4 foods. Other creatures you control get +2 +2 and gain haste till end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Merry Warden of Isengard is a green, white, and 1 for 1/4 legendary casting advisor. Partners with Pippin, Warden of Isengard. Whenever 1 or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. Ability triggers only once each turn. And then you have Bilbo, Birthday Celebrant, of a white, a black, and green for 2/3 legendary halfling rogue. You gain life, you gain that once life +1 instead. Play a white, a black, and green, and 1 and 2. Tap it, exile Bilbo, Birthday Celebrant, search your library for any number of creature cards, put them on the battlefield and shuffle. Activate only if you have 111 or more life. It's a game winner, but I don't think anybody's gonna use that. But this deck is designed to gain life quickly with food tokens and creating lots of food tokens and bonuses for sacrificing food tokens and using food tokens. So definitely something to think about. So I'm going to stop there because we're at 22 minutes, and we're going to see you on the next video.